Hello, welcome to all you Aquarians. Welcome for your monthly horoscope for April 2015. Now there's a lot going on again, and therefore I made a separate video of the lunar eclipse. So there's on the 4th of April a lunar eclipse in Libra, which is a fellow air sign. So the eclipse is a bit more positive for you. And I made a separate video because of the explanation of the eclipse and what it means in general. But I'm going to be talking about it a little bit here in this little video, what it means for an Aquarian, and also about Venus. I'm going to talk a little bit about Venus because it triggers the Neptune-Saturn square. Let's start with the eclipse. It's a lunar one, so it means revelations, it means clearness, it means things that become more clear and seriously clear. And for some of you that will be, wow, nice. And for others, you know, it's for better or for worse, because having the clearness also means that a realization that maybe the situation that you are in now needs to shift and you need to take action. Now for you, Aquarians, this is in your 9th house. And so the moon will be in your 9th house of Libra and the sun will be in your 3rd house. These are communication houses. So therefore, I think for Aquarians, this eclipse is not really a big deal. It's only a big deal if you've got planets in Libra or in Aries or Cancer or Capricorn. But anyways, it's happening in your 9th house. And that is already the house of having a vision, having an understanding, having a helicopter view understanding, you could say. So yeah, and it could be very simple. It could be that you go to a museum and you see something there that opens your viewpoint, and that you say, hey, I'm going to shift my viewpoint drastically here. Or it can mean, because the 9th house is the house of astrology, it's the house of higher education, it's the house of law, it's the house of studying, it's the house of abroad, it's the house of other cultures. So it's everything that can broaden our mind. So there is something that will broaden your mind. It's also our connection with the divine, and on a very deep spiritual soul level. So so that could be a revelation. And a lot of people say, oh, the 3rd house, the 9th house are not important houses. But if you shift, because these eclipses do tend to shift 180 degrees. And if you shift your belief, your opinion, which is also 9th house, your point of view, it means that your life is going to look very different than before. So now, the most positive thing about this eclipse, because it's quite a restless eclipse, which means to say that people will shift drastically, especially if you've got planets there. But as I said, for you, it's just in an area of the 9th house. And so the things that could shift are the things that I just mentioned. But the good thing, I think, is that Psyche is involved. Psyche is an asteroid, and it's about Psyche is about the soul, it's about spirit. And Psyche, its position is so special around the eclipse because it's next to the sun. And the sun represents also spirit and represents also understanding and consciousness. So it's a kind of a double whammy, you could say. And this happens in your 3rd house, again, of communication, of understanding, information, reading books, writing books. It's networking, internet. So there could be a very big understanding there, but on a very deep soul level, that you can connect with your deepest self, or with the divine, or with God, if you like, if you believe in God. And find your answers there, and that is really good. You also have your Neptune there in the 8th house that could connect you with something that is bigger than yourself. And reloading your batteries because of that big understanding. So it's quite a spiritual month also for you together with the Leos, because it's happening in very spiritual houses, which is the 9th house, is a very spiritual one. And it's the Psyche together with the Sun is also a very spiritual configuration. So listen to yourself, listen to your deepest self, and know that what is, and feel deep down inside, and try to connect with the divine in you and with the divine outside of you, to know what's best for you. And it's a lot about authenticity. It's a lot about doing what's best for you and for everybody else. And if we connect with that, the eclipse doesn't have to be restless. The eclipse doesn't have to be unstable at all. It can be a very redirecting yourself, because this is what eclipses do. They kind of redirect you on the right path, and the Sun is very connected to your path. So for a lot of Aquarians, there is some shifts as well in how they communicate, how they express themselves with other people. And this is never a bad thing, is it? To having your message and being able to express it to other people, and that they receive it and understand it. That's a kind of a connection as well, of course. Communication is connecting. And so a very busy month. And Venus will be in your 5th house, which is so nice to have. Venus is in Gemini as from the 12th. It shifts into your 5th house, fellow air sign. And the 5th house is house of joy. And Venus joy is in the 5th house. So it's very good for enjoyment. It's very good of finding pleasure, being content, doing the things that you love, whatever it is. It's also good for new romance, if you are single and you want a new one. And it's good for doing things that you feel that you're alive. And the only thing that can happen around the middle of the month, around the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, there's just a little warning there, is that Venus will bump into Saturn and Neptune. And whenever it does that, Saturn is reality and Neptune is dreams. So it's either, it's like a redefining on the right path, when, or either you have been dreaming too much when it considers the 5th house issues, and then you need to be a bit more feet on the ground, or either, so if you connect that with romance or with your own creative projects or hobbies, maybe you've been just being a bit too much in the clouds there, and you need to be a bit more realistic. Or you have been too strict and trying to push too hard. Could be the case as well with Venus there, struggling with Saturn and Neptune. If that is the case, if you've been trying to force the things, then your advice would be rather let go a little bit. Go with the flow a little bit more, and then you'll be fine. So thank you a lot, you Aquarians, for listening to this little video. I wish you all the best. Check out the other video if you want to know more about the eclipse, and see you next month. Bye bye.